I'm here in the Botanical Gardens in New Plymouth. There's a pagoda over here. The gardens and pathways are beautifully and immaculately looked after. This morning, it was the end of 2.5 days of overcast and rain. We found this lovely little cottage called Herworth Cottage. It's really charming. It was overcast, rainy, but I thought I would see how I'd tackle a overcast day. As you can see, it's nice and sunny now, but we didn't have that promise this morning. So let's see how I go. One of the trickiest things to do with painting, I think, is to get light on an overcast day. Because one of the trickiest things is, in an overcast day, we don't have normally as much colour. We get a certain amount of light, but it's really with the darks. That's where we really do find the strength. But if you haven't heard, I host an online course on Patreon where we release 4 exclusive videos for our members every month. And you can sign up at the link in the top right hand corner. Anyway, back to the painting. So I've established some reasonable quality darks there. And because I don't want these edges too strong or too powerful, I'll just scrub them back a little bit. And there's quite a bit of foliage here. The area that we'll notice and see the most light is on the rooftop. So I've chosen a subject that is actually, or a subject that has a shape that really does hold the light beautifully. And the other point is that the darker the shape, darker the colour, the harder it is to get an illusion of light. As you can see with these darks, if I was relying on that foliage to hold the light, I'd be really struggling because of just the natural mid-tone to dark value. It can be as simple as that. That's why even beach scenes, snow scenes, buildings or houses with white walls, or in this case it's actually got a red roof or a pinky red roof, so it's really holding the light beautifully. But it's going to be those darks, getting those darks and my edges sharp enough. That'll be the final step, is getting those edges in the right place at the right time, because there is a slight little shadow that's being cast down onto that veranda there as well. So many times it's just small, subtle, and that's probably the big thing also, is that it's more muted colours overall, because the light is dropping the natural hue of the foliage. And this was the driveway, and we might think, oh geez, it's just grey or yellowy grey, but that doesn't hurt because it's not quite a mid-tone, but it's a decent value that I can use, that almost like a still life, that it's almost my foreground, so it's directional lines. It possesses a certain amount of light, and there was some little puddles and some little highlights, but it's just going to stop the eye from spending too much time in the foreground, where this really is a mid-distance subject. And you can see that light just come through on the grass, on the rooftop. So this is a good moment to start to bring that sky in. So it's mostly just a little bit of ultra blue into the white. Just got to watch I don't have a dirty brush there. Can be the danger of using a brush that I've already used on sort of foliage or something, even though these brushes do clean up really nicely. It's very easy to, even though that is a skill that we do need to practice, because definitely in this type of light effect, when it's not from, say, a value of 1 to value of 9, it's more of a value of 7 to 2. Probably the chimney and the little timber structure on the right hand side are probably other than the sky, are the lighter areas. So it's that more mid-range value. But definitely the placement of the lights to the darks, super important. Now I'm aiming to just unify all of this foliage, because once again, we don't want to create too many visual distractions that we're taking the viewer's eye away from where we want them to look. And the ultimate lesson, I think, with these type of lighting is to think monochromatically. Don't think what colour is this and what colour is that, except for maybe the rooftop, but we could have made it a light blue roof or a orange roof, quite a few different colours, even though the red goes well with most of the foliage, but it's more about thinking monochromatically from light to dark. That's really the other important lesson that I've learned from sort of trialling these ones, because as a colourist, this type of lighting isn't normally super conducive to the way that I would paint or most colourists paint. So that's where definitely need to think in terms of getting those windows dark enough, any doorway in under the awning. And now I'll just need and want to place a few little accents on the apex, a few little highlights where a few little bits of timber on the edge of the car park, a few little branches and a few little twigs. That's the beauty of these smaller brushes, when we really need to almost draw, where most of the time with brushes we're pushing paint around, we're more smearing it. But you can see those nice darks down underneath that timber structure. That's helping the grey driveway area to resonate with light. So we're looking at where we place our darkest darks and the quality of those darks up against our normally unifying midtones and then that area of light. So there's still a little bit of variation now that I can start to search for. There's sort of a few little greens and a few little flowers here and there. But once again, that brings it right back to tonally thinking, making sure we've got those good darks and midtones to be able to do this. So just finessing those smaller shapes. I was kind of staying away from getting too many little light sky holes through that foliage, because it was only just going to force the eye to those little areas. But it doesn't hurt to just give them a go, because when they work they're little bits of magic, but the trick is to make sure we go at least one value darker than the actual sky is, so they don't jump out too much. That's the reason. Now I can just finesse that foreground. You can see that I've subtly used the reflections and the light to move the eye into the scene.